potential. And this allows you to do energy, and you're mostly positive on the outside. So really, we have about minus 70 millivolts of electricity is what it's supposed to be. And as our situation drops and we get sicker and sicker and no energy, and there's no gradient here, then we get stagnant. And that causes a lot of problems when you get stagnant, because it's like the Dead Sea. The Dead Sea, it only takes, it does not give up anything. It just takes, it takes, it takes, and it becomes stagnant. And that's why everything dies. And that's why our cells, they die too, because they just become stagnant and it has no energy anymore, and nothing can live in it. And you get bacteria, parasite, fungus, and anything else that actually contributes to sickness of the body taking place. That's why we have to make sure our batteries are charged. And how do you charge your batteries? You charge your batteries with light, just like the plants out there. They take on the sun in photosynthesis and to produce energy. Well, we also take on the sun to produce energy, because this will charge our batteries. It will restore our electrolyte balance and so forth, so we can actually work better. And this is a project that we did here, where you take this water, these terahertz water, or just regular water, and it's purified. And we use the same purified water in each container there. And we put them in mason jars and put them in the refrigerator and froze them for about 12 hours and separated them. They come from the same mason jars that were bought in a bulk portion. And so there was nothing that was different between these. And we put them in the refrigerator and froze them. So the first one, this one right here in the middle, had absolutely nothing applied to as far as terahertz was concerned. This one over here is the classic one, or the home variety of one. And this is the professional model. When actually taking these out of the refrigerator, this is what we see here. We see these linear stripes here in this classic model here. And what is happening here is when you get down to about 34 degrees Fahrenheit, water begins to become less dense. This is just a natural phenomenon. This is what you see here is scalar technology, because it goes against natural phenomenon of water, which is to become less dense. And but what you see here, it got more dense, a lot more dense. And you see these fibrillaries, these little strings here there, that indicates that this is actually freezing it in a linear portion here. And you see over here with the Pro is way much more dense than all of it. And you see much more likely the filaments here too, that are there, that are across there. So that's what we see there. And so we need to talk about the benefits of the terahertz water. First is the linear orientation, allows for better absorption into the water into the cell. You have cleansing of the cell, so it helps remove the toxins out of the cell. It puts the water inside the cell, because we all are dehydrated. It accelerates your metabolism and weight release. It helps with repair and regeneration of the cells and removals of excess water. We are all prominently dehydrated, but we have too much water, where waterlogged is what the problem is, because you can't get the water into the cell where it needs to be. It's only outside the cell. And then you give all those diuretics and so forth. You just make things more dehydrated, which causes us to become more waterlogged. It improves the oxygenation of the cell. It reduces the viscosity and the thickness of the cell. So it's like taking ketchup and turning it into fine wine. It's very thin and allows for the oxygen to get to the cell much better. And cells do not stick to each other anymore to prevent that oxygen. So it improves with the surface tension. It also improves with the digestive health. So these are the benefits alone with just drinking the water that's applied for about 45 seconds to a 10-ounce glass of water. So our benefits of having a terahertz session is improves microcirculation and improves the system function. It helps supplies the nutrition and oxygen. It improves metabolism, and it helps remove the waste in the blood cells. It supports the autonomic nervous system, which is a fight and flight response we'll talk about in a minute. It's instant relief of discomfort in the body, release of toxins and impurities from the body. It helps support the nutrition and the oxygenation to the cell. And again, it takes the senescent cell, these old cells that broken down or need to be broken down, and either repairs them or promotes them to die. So this is why we need to heat up, because 1 degree Celsius decrease, you get decrease in basal metabolism by 12%, immunity by approximately 35%. When you get down to 96.8, the body starts to shiver and you have increased heat. 95, this is body temperature. Multiplication of cancer cells are made so easy. And then you get 93.2, a person's temp, when they're drowning, they will have 50% less chance of surviving. The important thing is to heat up the body, that we are cold, we have a lack of energy, and that's why people's number one problem today they list is fatigue. They are just worn out. And a lot of times these people are hypothermic. They have a low body temperature. So where do you apply these light? Well, it comes in multiple places. One would be the feet. There's meridians in your feet and your hands. These are energy channels. The chiropractics and acupuncturists use it, and they are there. And they all the organs are pretty much represented in your feet, in your hands, on your ear, in your eyes. So these are other ways other than just treating directly or administering directly. You can deal with it actually indirectly, whatever problem they're dealing with. So this is just an instance of that. Is you got the lungs and you got your breast, your liver, your heart over here on the left side, your spleen, and sigmoid colon, all these kind of things. You can actually do a lot of good by just using the feet alone, as well as the hand. And here's the ear. So it's important that we recognize this, and this the eyes. So we must look at a few testimonies. I had to give my personal testimony. I've had horrible headaches. I had a car accident in 2010 that I had a rollover, and I broke C5, 6, and 7 in my neck, and T5, 6, and 7, and crushed my left shoulder area, brachial plexus. And so I have this numbness and tingling in my thumb and my first finger on my left hand. And I have severe headaches I used to have that came on me all the time, probably 2 or 3 times at least a week. And some of these headaches would put you in the bed for 2 or 3 days. I mean, it was just absolutely excruciating. It's like someone putting a knife behind your eyes and about to ream out your eyes. Very painful. And I've used all these modalities I have in the clinic, which is about 35 different modalities here that are frequency based. I've tried medicines, I tried supplements, nothing worked at all. And so I have started using the device, and the device is too strong for me because I really have only used it about 12 times for myself personally. But I've used the water and drank the water. This is the power of the water itself, and 10 ounces in the morning. I can't do it twice a day. The reason that I have this issue is because I'm around this all the time. I'm doing this every day on people. And so I'm getting the scalar uh, part of this every time I treat someone. And I really believe that, because my effect is if I actually use the device or actually the water in twice a day or more, then I'll be up for 2 to 3 days. But since I have been using this since April of last year, I've not had but a couple headaches, and none of them have did much of anything, because I can use the Pro device on my eyes and down over my TMJ area and on over to my neck there, and it will usually go away in a minute or two. That's how fast the response this was or is. And here is a lady who has varicose veins, and you can see she's in her 80s, and it's pretty extensive. It's even worse, but this is 30 minutes after using the classic, and you see there is a difference there. See how dark this is here, and after using the classic for 30 minutes, it's much better. And this is even more impressive because it's a lot darker here. This is in the calf there. And then you see here that you see all that darkness is pretty much went away all after 30 minutes. This is a lady that has psoriasis. Again, we're not treating people or preventing or curing or anything. The body has its magic. If you have cells, I repeat this, if you have cells, you have a heart that's beating and you're breathing, this device will work for you. It will work 100% of the time. I normally see, and pretty much every time I use it on someone, when I do it the right way, which I try to do every time, I have a 100% success rate with this device. This is how powerful, and this is why I'm so passionate about this device. This is 5 minutes after doing this on the Pro, and you see there's a lot less red there that's going on. There's a lot less scaliness. And then we did 3 minutes over the spleen, and you see it really got less red there. And so this is the power of this device there. This is an animal, and actually, uh, this works really good with humans as well as with animals because they also have cells and they don't have a placebo effect associated with them too. They're instinctively or drawn to this device. I mean, it doesn't matter. I was over at my sister-in-law's house yesterday, and the cat would normally just run away from this thing, never seeing something like that, but stood around there and watched and observed what was actually going on. When I was actually treating my brother there, or actually administering my brother, we can't treat. I'm a doctor, so I often say treat, but I should not say treat. But just administering to this session to him. But right here, you see 510, May the 10th. There was a red knot appearing on the inside of the ear. Tried Neosporin, steroid creams. It wouldn't go away. It was attached. It was firm. It was some kind of tumor. She had just got the device in the mail, and the client agreed. And I believe she said it was not. It says only 2 seconds. I believe it was 2 minutes. Is been clarified now. And also on 523. They used the one in 5 minutes on the spot and took the first picture. So we're not even seeing the first picture here. This is the one has already been used at that time. And then you see here it is going. It's what she agreed to, coming in there about every week and having a treatment for about 5 minutes. And then 928 when she came back, it was totally gone, and has never came back. And that's the power of this technology. It works really, really well. This is something really worked well. This is me and my leg again. This is a ganglion cyst. I used to lift lots of weights when I was in medical school. So this is 30 years ago. I've had this thing right here. And it really doesn't cause me a lot of problem, but it's unsightly and it's swollen, and so I like to see it go. So I used a Pro on it, and when I did the Pro, I did about 5 minutes on it. And after 5 minutes, this is what it happened here. It just sort of pretty much melted away there. So I did it the next day, and it disappeared, and that was the end of that. So this is how powerful this device works in the state of an inflamed state. All right, and here is the sympathetic and parasympathetic nervous system, like we were talking about, the autonomic nervous system. It has the parasympathetic and sympathetic. Sympathetic is fight in a line. So you're either going to fight, you're going to run, or you're going to stand still. You're going to something and just hope for best. And here's the parasympathetic, which is the rest, repair, and digest. So if you run in a line, you don't care about your stomach working too well. You don't care about your kidneys working well. You want your heart and your brain, your muscles to work well. If you're eating, you don't care about all these other things actually working so well. So you got to have a balance between the two. And when you're stressed out, And your variability, that's what heart rate variability is all about. HRV is having variability and being able to respond to the stress in life. This is a great indicator. And this is how we test this device. And it's incredible results that we've seen we could go over. But the problem with that is it's a little complicated and beyond this spectrum. But just rest assured, incredible results with using HRV. This is how I sort of prove this device it works. And big medical centers such as Duke and other large medical centers also are associated with HRV because it increases your likelihood of having a heart attack or strokes in the next 6 months. It shows the prognosis of those when you actually study it with HRV technology. Another thing that really hits me is how much pollution we have in the air and how much pollution we have in our own home is a big issue. So what we have also is a negative oxygen on. This is one of my favorite devices, even though it's an unusual story how it came about. I really do believe in this device because I actually didn't even pay for this device. It was given to me because of a treating or dealing with a person in a remote fashion. But anyway, what we're talking about here is negative oxygen ions. So near a waterfall, you have 10,000 to 100,000 ions per cubic centimeters. You have in a park 400 to 1,000. At the seashore, you have 5,000. In the office or in your home, you're down to 40 to 50. And the industrial setting, you're approaching zero. So we need these negative ions in our body. We need about 13 billion a day, and you cannot get that actually just walking around because there's too many poisons that are in the air. There's too many gases, and there's too much pollution that hinder our bodies and from healing. Uh, so this is what we're talking about. You have nitrogen, you have oxygen, but when you add an extra electron, you reduce things. When you reduce things, you're able to use that reduction to neutralize other toxins that's around you, such as bacteria, virus, parasite, fungus, everything else actually around, and chemical cigarette smokes from like formaldehyde, those type of things work very effective with this. So the benefit of this device is to improve the negative oxygen ions, and by doing that, you have blood purification, you have pH balancing, you have enhanced cell metabolism, you have antioxidation. It helps strengthen the immune system. It overcomes headache and anxiety. It prevents your blood being clotted up, or what they call arteriosclerosis, overcoming insomnia or sleep disorders, and helps balance the autonomic nervous system. So with that, they've done testing, Prife has, with this technology, and they have this larger device they use, and they have done studies with that. And the same company is the company that makes this smaller device, this a wearable device that I have on right now. And testing, they found that it was very effective, killed up to 99.99% of the corona or the C virus, whatever you want to call that, actually. But this is how powerful this is. So it's about 99% effective in viral type issues, about 96, 94% in bacterial, and it helps really well with, like I said, the uh, the uh, the environment that we're living in that is so polluted. And this is a beautiful thing, but you really can't see it on this because it won't allow me to show video for some reason. But it is an ion shield, and it shows a person that's smoking a cigarette, and they put it under two glasses. They blow into these two glasses, and they invert it so it's trapped in there, and then they put the on shield in one of it. In about 3 seconds, it just disappears. It's still clouded up, and the other one very clouded up. So they then removed the on shield from that one and put it, and it goes away in 3 minutes as well. So it's quite an impressive uh, little video. Now, this is another thing that happened with our kitty cat. This little kitty cat, my wife found in the road. It was hit by a car. It was about 6 weeks old. His eyes were completely, right eye was completely closed. This is after the fact of treatment. It was unresponsive. It was swollen so bad. And there was undoubtedly CSF draining out of the eye. We talked to the vet, and the vet said, this vet is brain damaged, and this cow is, I mean, this cat is brain damaged, and we just don't know what to do about it. So we got a hold with my blower at that time, and I blew on it, and nothing seemed to happen. The next morning, though, when I got up, the cat was meowing, and I said, "Oh my goodness, what are we doing here?" Because I don't like kitty cats. I don't like cats. I think they're, well, I'm not going to talk about that. But anyway, we did this for 4 days, and the cat woke up, and he's perfectly fine now, and there's no evidence of anything and regarded to this little kitty cat. So I've seen a lot of amazing results. My first patient that actually I used on, well, it wasn't a patient, but I just met him on the street, and he was fixing to have stem cell transplant in his knees. He weighed 450 pounds. He was hurting very, very bad, and he said he's going to go down and spend $50,000 down in Panama. And I said, well, why don't you come by my office and let's see what we can do? I got this new device. I don't know if it does anything, but we can try it on you and see. Well, he came in here, and I knew about the terahertz technology, about stem cell production, and also increasing the microcirculation. But I couldn't say it did this because I've never even used the device. So this guy walked in on his two crutches that he was on, and we sat down and we did about 15, 20 minutes on him. We did his spine about 5 minutes. We did both his shoulders about 5 minutes. And then we did 5 minutes each on his knees. And about 10 minutes into the procedure, he said, man, I feel my hands for the first time in 10 years. I don't know what's going on. My hands and feet, they're warm. And I noticed that myself. And so actually, I said, well, I don't know about that, but it must be the microcirculation has improved here. And I said, what can you do with your, just stand up, see what you can do with your knees. And he said, well, they're actually less stiff, but that could be in my head. I said, yes, it could be in your head. I said, why don't you call me back in the morning, see how you're doing? And he called me back the next morning. He said he was sore all over. This is very common. This is called detoxification reaction or cleansing reaction. The body's trying to get rid of toxins, and that doesn't make you feel too well when you clean house. It doesn't feel too good necessarily, especially if you got a big mess. So when the body cleans house, you might not feel too good for a couple of days or so. So I said, okay. I said, why don't you? He said, my knees are not hurting though. I want to come back. I said, well, wait a couple of days or so. Drink plenty of water, hydrate yourself, and you can come back. So he came back, and we did it again, and he came back again. And this third time he said, hey, doc, he said, I don't understand this, but my blood sugar, I hadn't did anything about this, and I haven't told you, but I'm a bad diabetic. I said, my blood sugar doesn't get below 300. It said it's usually and lowest it gets is 180. I've seen it like one time. And since you've been doing this device, he said, it's running around 110. He said, I not seen that before, not changed anything. How could it be? And I said, well, it must be causing these stem cells is produced there, and they're going to where there's weakness, which is your pancreas, and is producing insulin, and that's what's causing your blood sugar to drop down. And we've seen this over and over and over and over with patients, and even just drinking the water, we see reduction in blood sugar 40 points and across the board with people. So not even using the device on himself personally. There is some problems with the device as far as you cannot use it over places of metal and implants or like corrective lens for cataracts, but you can also and pacemakers and stimulators, but you can use it all around things and also on your hands and feet for everyone. So you can affect a huge amount of people without even directly using it on their problem. I did example my brother yesterday. He had a frozen a problem with his shoulder on his right arm, and I actually did his left arm, and he looked at me like I was crazy, saying my right arm is one that's hurting all the time. I said, well, the body told me the left arm, and he's perfectly fine. But when I actually did it on the left arm, which he really didn't believe would affect his right arm, he was trying to work it out, trying to make it have pain. He couldn't understand why it would do that actually and work it, because we're all connected. Everything's connected, and the body knows what its need, and that's what we do is supply the need. And when you do that, amazing things can take place. So this is pretty much the end of this talk as far as the presentation. Dr. Sharnael.
Awesome. Yeah, and going back to the animal situation, I had Nikita with me at the conference, and anytime that you like worked on someone, all of a sudden Kita would get up from wherever she was and come sit like right at your feet and look up at you like waiting, or whoever had the blower. My dogs would come running over like expecting that you were gonna treat them because or work on them, because I had been doing it for several days. They love it so much that when you turned yours on, they were like, "Oh, it's my time," and ran over there and wanted to get you to work on them. So that was pretty interesting. But yes, 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 yes. Well, I love it. Someone was asking about distilled water. Does the mineral? She says, does the mineral hungry distilled water work as well as water that is minerally heavy with the frequency device?
Well, actually, I mean, the device will take any form of whatever, whether it be essential oils and make it much more powerful as far as getting it into body, as well as minerals. We put fulvic minerals in the water itself and charge it. It will allow it to get into the cell better than ever, actually. So, distilled water on its own is devoid of minerals. And so I would recommend putting Celtic sea salt or Himalayan salt or something like that, or fulvic minerals in there to actually replenish the minerals that are void in the distilled water. And so that's what I would do. But yes, this will take anything and make everything better, actually, is a general rule.
Just like drives it in basically. And then I wanted
Right.
to bring up too about the emotional aspect of this, because I could tell on a personal thing, I was going through several things, as but for those people who are watching, had a lot of different deaths in a row, and including two animals, and three people within a short period of time. And I was just not able to recover as quickly as I normally do. And I had contacted Dr. Lucky about some other physical issues for a few months. And when I went, every time I would talk to him, he'd say, use the blower, use the blower, use the blower. Like he didn't even want to see me. He was just like, So I had a dream actually that I had called a friend, Alita, who works a lot with Dr. Lucky and myself, and a real dear friend. And in the dream, I had said to her, can you please take me to go see Dr. Lucky? And she said, she said, sure. What do you need to go for? And my response was, for my emotions. And we know that 86% of all physical aspects are actually emotional, which I learned from Dr. Lucky. And when I went, what's interesting is he picked up on the ether that one of the puppies, one of my dogs that had passed, was like still kind of lingering in the realm, in the ether realm, and that he was to blow the dog in the ether, which I know this sounds far-fetched, but most of you guys know what I'm talking about, and this isn't a stretch for you at all. Anyway, when I went fast forward, when I went to, and by the way, I felt like million times better. I felt like so much had lifted, and I went home after sleeping a long time after, completely normal. I felt just back to myself again. But I say this because when we were at the conference, um, my dog was there, and she's going through some stuff, my other dog, and she was a pup when this first dog passed. And when he started working on her, he also picked up that this my dog Wolfie, who had passed, was in her ether, and she was grieving. And I know that you had said 10 minutes of using the blower right here on the master gland, like straight up and down, would do quite a bit. Do you want to speak a little bit about the emotional aspect?
Oh, yes. Well, this is an extremely great device emotionally for people. We see a lot of emotional issues clear up within 5-10 minutes of because what happens is the crown is the area where the pineal gland is situated, and you're blowing right into the pineal gland, which is calcified in a large amount of people. All the fluoride people have in their water allows for calcification, medications, all these kind of things are calcified. Your ability to see, see clearly, perceive things, and that's just the nature of the way things are. Well, when you cloud your ability to see things, what this does is it exposes the light to that area and allows for decalcification. And with that, there is clearing of the cognitive forms. And so many people, I've seen people here that have been depressed as all get out and almost to the level of suicidal. And they go back there and they put that on their head and they'll say, "Wow, this is like a light just opened up. Just amazing what took place there. Just such clarity of being able to see things the way things should be instead of the way under fear." And so we've seen that over and over. So really, the whole issue, if people are not getting good response with people, it's a lot of times it is emotional or spiritual. And so what we always do is we do about 5 minutes on the tailbone, which is another level of spirituality there, because you have the crown, you have the TMJ right up here, temporomandibular joint there. These are all emotional joints in the body. Your cerebral spinal fluid is pumped by the coccyx, the tailbone area, as well as the TMJ, and that pumps your cerebral spinal fluid up to your brain and back down, so it ascends and descends in that level. And this is what allows cushioning of the brain, is the CSF. So you can work on those areas, 5 minutes on the coccyx, 10 minutes on the crown and of the head. And people that will not respond and they get worse. Like I've had people have severe pain, can't even walk in the place, and just really horrible. And we do it, and they get worse. And then I would do the crown and the coccyx, and immediately get up, not have any more pain, just be instantaneously. So I'd say about 85 to 90% of the people need to work on both the crown and the coccyx, especially if they're not seeing results with this device. Because I can honestly say, especially with the pro, I've had 100% success rate with anybody. I don't care how bad their pain is. I don't care if they're on narcotics. I don't care if I mean, just the most incredible. Like just yesterday, I treated a person yesterday or did a session with her. She's not my patient. I don't know how in the world, how much stuff she's actually on as far as medicine is concerned, and wouldn't expect her to see any results whatsoever. She had all this neuropathy in her feet. It's been going on for years. Severe pain, couldn't hardly walk, just having to use a cane to get around. And within within 3 minutes here, and I think I did 3 minutes on her spine, up and down her spine, and I did 5 minutes on divided in 2.5 minutes on her feet, and she got up, didn't need a cane anymore, walking around. Said she was 100% better with her pain. Well, there's nothing in the world that does that, as far as I know. But this technology is amazing what it actually does to help people with most chronic, I don't care what it is and how long it's been going on. It doesn't really matter. It's just giving the body what it needs, and the body actually will heal. Once you start moving the body to where it needs to go a little bit, that's all you take. It's just a little bit. The body has extreme ability and intrinsic ability to heal itself.
Yes. And we saw that at the conference. He literally had demos of people who came up and couldn't move their head this way or that way, couldn't raise their shoulders because of frozen shoulders. One lady had a finger that was just, she actually had her, was working on her neck, but then her finger popped open too. And I guess it's been decades since she's been able to have her finger straight. But you talked, I wanted to share too about the number one, the guy Quantumly that you worked on that had contacted you, and basically you just created in your mind an imaginary anatomy body of him, and then you like used it and pointed it at the area of his lungs, of what would be his lungs, and then he basically literally got healed. But then also share a little bit about the bone that you had, because I'll tell you guys this much. He had went in the middle of the night a couple times to do a house call for this lady. And, the third or fourth time, he was just like, you know what, instead of doing this physically going over there, I'm just going to, blow on this little piece of bone that she had that was hers, because entanglement and all that. And basically she felt better, even though you didn't go over there physically and work on her. So talk about the quantum aspect. We just have a few minutes left here. But
Okay, just a little correction. I did go over there each time. She actually,
oh,
I did a house call, but but what happened the first time I went over there, she had been on an elevator, in the elevator, and hit her head on top of the elevator and come down and cracked her leg in 3 different places, and they had to do surgery. So they put pins and metal on it, so you couldn't do it directly on those areas, but you could use other areas, which I did use, her hands and her and other foot, and the processing of pain areas on the head. And we got good results with doing that. But that day, one of the relatives showed me the bone fragment and said, "Hey, how about this bone fragment?" And I just sort of ignored it. And then I went home. And that night, the Lord got a hold of me and said, "Why didn't you use the bone?" And I said, "Well, I guess I will tomorrow." And she called and she wanted me to come back because she was having pain again. It was up like 9 and out of 10. And she had not taken narcotics for about 4 hours. So I didn't tell her what I was doing. I just asked her, the relative actually to look at the bone. And so I looked at the bone, went in the other room, and I blew on the bone for about 3 minutes. And then I went back in and I asked her, but didn't tell her what I did or anything. I just said, "How's your pain now?" And she said, "Wow, it's a lot better. It's like a 2 now." I said, "Whoa, that is a great." I said, "Well, you might just need to blow this bone some, since we can't blow the real places. We can just blow the bone." And so she wanted to get the device actually, and when she actually did that and everything, that she didn't have any more pain, and I guess that's the pretty much the end of that story. But the other guy actually, he was overseas, and he was sick. He had COVID, and they asked me if I would be able to help him, and I said, "Well, I don't know." I said, "Just give me his name, give me a picture of him, and his birthday, and get permission from him, and we'll see what happens." And so they gave me his name, permission, and picture of him, and we worked on him. I turned my bookcase into his lungs, and I divided the bookcase in right and left lungs, and I prayed over it because I believe prayer works a lot, setting your intention to things. And I just did my blowing maneuver over that. And about 4 hours later, they called me back saying he was much better and they wanted to gift me something. So that's how I got the on pennant that I'm wearing right now, is because of that. And so there's like grease came out of his lungs and that type of thing. So it was really impressive. And I got this device, and this device, I can't say enough about it because it's essentially what keeps me alive. and my oxygen drops really low at night. I've been doing that since I was back in medical school, like in the 70s. And my brain does not tell my uh, uh, body to breathe. And when I find out when I wear this device, I don't have that problem anymore. My oxygen stays up. I don't drop into, uh, don't even drop out of the 90s anymore. It's usually 95 to 100% during the night now. And it's because it's balanced and the autonomic stress reflects in my body. So it didn't cost me anything, but look what I got out of it. Actually, didn't believe in it, wouldn't have worn it, and but because I don't like it, I don't like wearing jewelry in the first place, and so it looks like a little jewelry type thing, but it's got a little light on it, and I don't like that either, and I don't like the chains. I don't like anything about it, so I wouldn't ever got this, but the Lord had other ideas and knew what I needed, and this is what I'm wearing now. And I believe in it, and it produces 60 million negative ions per second. So you talk about 13 billion you need a day. This actually does the job, actually, in producing the negative ions that your body actually needs to have.
Well, so thank you for sharing that. That helps a lot because I've heard and seen testimonies where people just used it literally on a picture. And there's been even results on a quantum level,
Oh yeah, absolutely. Anything actually. So that's the whole deal is you can use it on a picture. You can imagine a person being in front of you. It's where you set your intention. That's what quantum is all about. Prayer is a form of quantum technology. That we got a person's name. We want to pray for them. Actually, we're entangled with them. We feel empathy toward them. So therefore, we pray for them, and God touches them. So this is the same thing. This is basically another form of prayer. And I always convert it to prayer because I believe the Lord is what actually heals people. But we have the blueprint. The Creator created a blueprint for our healing. And when we give it what it needs, it can do anything. It doesn't matter what it is. It doesn't matter what label they give it to it. It's just cells, and cells can become normal even though they're abnormal. But see, the battle is always about fighting things. The battle is always about division and being able to control things when we really truly need to lose control and recognize the the amazing capability of our bodies to heal from anything that it needs to be healed from and take control of our lives again.
Yes, 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 yes. And someone was asking about the other C word, with what other stage
Mhm.
it is. And again, stem cells are what help the body do its own job that it was meant to do anyway. So if we can stop the mass multiplication of the rogue cells and then help support the good ones and let the
Absolutely.
body be in alignment, then your body will do it on its own. This is just a little kind of like training wheels on the body to kind of help the body get back into the right
Right.
direction that it's.
Right, right. Well, the whole issue, it really people say, "Will it work for this? Will it work for that? Will it work with that?" It'll work with anything as long as you have cells and you have a human body and you believe that your body has hope and you have hope. It doesn't matter what you call it, genetic. It doesn't really matter because we're way more than what they call us. See, but we have to be careful because we make contracts with these things and we believe in and we take ownership of these things. So we believe in these things. I don't believe in these things. I don't believe this terminology they God. It's just made up by man in the first place to control people. So they put people in a box there and they said, this is the way we treat this box. This is the way we treat this box. This is the way we treat this box. And we're all going to do it the same way. And it's a standard that we use when all in all you are is a light and electricity. So you increase your frequency to the optimal levels, and the body can heal from anything. You increase your charge; it doesn't matter what the problem is, but you just got to find a way to increase the charge to where you need to be. Whether clean up all the negative thinking in your life, the clutter in your life from that, or the getting eliminating the drugs that are toxic that's causing your body to cause problems, but you have to work with physician for that. because you can't just stop medication. It's not a healthy thing to do. It can be really bad. And with this, you also got to be very conscious in doing this, especially someone that's really, really sick and toxic. They probably need to begin on the water only because, like I said, people have sugar problems. You can have a reduction in your blood sugar, and you may not need as much insulin anymore or blood pressure medicine anymore. So you have to sort of work with the physician, especially to follow things very closely because the blood sugar and blood pressure, especially when people on medications, can start to come down, and then you might not need to be on so much medication or any medication.
Yes, and also one thing I wanted to touch on that a lot of people ask about is the difference between the pro and the classic. I have the
Hmm.
classic, and then when I went to you, you had several different things where you would say, okay, if you need to be blown for this, blah, blah, blah. If we use the classic, how many minutes is it? And if we use the pro, how many minutes is it? And so when we did the classic, it was blank amount
Mm.
of time, let's say 30 minutes or 20 minutes. And then the pro, it just shortened the time to maybe 3 minutes. So it's way,
Hmm.
way, way more powerful. You don't have
Yeah.
to use it as long. But the classic is amazing. So, I just want to make sure people understand that there are differences, and you've seen a lot of differences as well. If you want to speak into that.
Yes, the classic doesn't have a cool setting on it. The pro does. The cool setting is really good for neurological conditions and high levels of inflammatory issues, actually, because it's all heated up in the first place, and you need to cool it down. And so I'd say the pro is 100 times better than the classic, as far as I'm concerned. I don't like to sit a long time and work on people. It's just like these people I just saw the weekend. They were very, very chronically ill people. This wasn't something that just started last week. So if I had used a classic, I probably would have saw zero effect or very little effect. But a person that's got a frozen shoulder for 10 years, in a matter of 3 minutes, it's gone actually. And she's able to lift her arms up. And I saw her yesterday too. So I saw her Saturday, and she's even doing much, much better. Actually, she's running all over the place, and she can lift her hands completely up without any obstruction whatsoever. And she didn't even have any water to drink or anything else because the benefits of this continuing in her body is about 48 hours. So that's another thing. You don't drink cold water during that time period, and between those 4 to 8 hours, you don't take a bath with because you get heat and then it cools down and it slows the process down. But the gold has more the pro has more terahertz frequencies associated. It's really good, like I said, for the skin. It helps with production of stem cells and collagen, like facelifts and things, and hair, and it's just overall. I don't hardly ever use a classic anymore. It's the all pro because I want to see people see results within 5-10 minutes. I don't want to wait a couple days or so. I want to see they'll see them right here in the office. I've seen people that's had no vision that from macular degeneration, and in 2 minutes they got their eyesight back again. So 2 minutes in both eyes. But I would not have seen that with the classic in that type of thing. So, like I said, I don't know of anybody. I have not had a response with the pro right off the bat, actually, in my office or wherever I'm at, because I'll take this and do it anywhere. I take it around me everywhere I go. If I go to Meridian, I'll take it with me there, and someone comes up now, and they got a big challenging situation. I don't like playing with people that don't have a challenging situation. I find the sickest of sickest people actually to use this on because I want to see them demonstrate. And the less faith they have in it, the more I really like it too, because you want to get rid of all that placebo stuff that's connected to it. And it's amazing just to see how they look at you when they are told by the doctor that they're not going to be able to move their head or lift their shoulder that they're going to have to live with this, and all of a sudden in 5-10 minutes they're lifting everything up and having no problem anymore with it. So it's I like seeing people's lives change, and this is what I see with this device is I'm getting to see lives change every single day that I use this device, and to the good. I haven't seen anything to the bad. I've seen all to the good, and that's what makes me so happy about it.
Yes, I agree. And I've heard people, I only have experience with the classic as far as what I have. And I've seen your results with the pro. But Carly Cruz and several people have come back with, you know, bumps gone, moles gone, tags gone, shoulders, necks, back issues completely healed. I know that oops, we can't say healed. I know you talked to someone who was supposed to have a knee replacement and they didn't have to have the surgery. She ended up
Oh
doing
yeah.
it anyway because of her husband wanting her to, but she had no pain. Several getting their hearing back, several throwing their glasses, don't need their glasses anymore or their readers. I know you
Mhm.
mentioned some of that too, but that's the kind of the stuff that we're seeing. But if any of you guys are interested in this, please just DM me. I can give you a link, and we can start the process, and you guys could have one in your house and you can work on your animals, yourself, your kids, your neighbors. I think this is something that every single person should have in their home, especially, like I said, I don't know, some of you guys have heard me chat about Marcel Vogel, and Marcel Vogel is a unique man because he discovered the science of crystals and how crystals will work to restore the body back to harmony and alignment. And he had a special cut in his crystals that basically he would cut it a certain way. They would aim it at whatever area it needed support, and he would blow like a weird blow, like a short, direct blow with these crystals. And I was actually going to purchase one to use in my practice, and they're quite expensive. Actually, they're 2, 3, 4,000, 5,000, depending on, especially if you get it from the dude who studied and does the cuts and learned from Marcel, who's passed. And you guys can go on the internet and look up Marcel Vogel and see his work. But basically, this device is crystals in this container that is blowing. So it's doing the physical work for you, just plugging it in without you having to literally physically blow on someone through through a crystal. So it's just taking the technology to a whole different level of being able to just in your home being able to, use energy medicine. And you mentioned med beds and that whole opportunity. This is similar to that. And the future is now, and we are seeing results with energy medicine. And it just takes, you know, testing it out and trying it. And so, um, any last words before we go here? Let me know, anything else you want to add, Dr. Lucky?
Well, no, but thank you for allowing us to talk about and give this presentation. And we believe that this can really impact anybody's lives, regardless of who they are. It doesn't matter if they're a week old baby to 120. It doesn't have any age limits. There's no anybody can do this. We have a protocol that people can use that actually will send to them sort of because not everybody's like me. I test people and I can tell where things need to go. And so that's going to increase my likelihood of having a great response. But just looking at the two devices, the Classic's a great device. I started on that one. I saw great results with that one as well. It's just that I moved on to the pro, and once you go pro, there's no going back. So if a person has the finances, they should invest in the pro. They're investing in their life. And there's nothing like it. It's a whole lot more durable. So you sort of get what you pay for. The model, the Classic, you have to worry about dropping it every 5 minutes and maybe breaking it. And then other things actually happens because it's it's not as stable as the Pro is, and it has also a cutoff, so it automatically cuts you off after about 45 minutes to an hour, and then it has to cool down. The Pro doesn't have anything like that. You can use it, especially someone in a clinic situation or using on multiple people. They would want to have the Pro there, but I just like it because it's just so much easier and so fast, and I don't like sitting around with 20 minutes going up and down or doing anything for 20 minutes really. And I actually will employ my patients to work on each other because I'm sort of lazy in that situation. And so now I don't have to worry about that. I can just do it all on myself, and because anybody can do 3 to 4 minutes.
Yes, I agree. I agree. Well, I appreciate your time so much. And again, if anyone is interested in this, just please message me. You can also email me at drsharnael@gmail.com. And definitely would like to help as many people as possible. We just started a training group for testimonies and for those who have actually purchased, so we can add you to that group too, so you guys can have a bit of a support group to understand a little bit more about how to use it, and then post your own testimonies. People, we're all just learning. We're all kind of at ground zero with this type of device and medicine, but we'd love to see what we can do to help you. If that's something that you're getting a yes for, please do reach out. Again, just message me or go to my email. And I hope you guys have a great Monday. Appreciate you guys so much. Thank you, Dr. Lucky. And we will see you somewhere around. Appreciate you very, very, very much. And appreciate everybody who stayed
Appreciate you
on.
too. All
All right.
right.
All right. Take care.
Bless you. Bye bye.